hear from you.
Sure, if you could start, Ron, that would be great.
Okay. Well, hi, everyone. Certainly, good evening. Wherever you are, that includes our friends, colleagues from South America, i.e. Brazil. I'll talk about that in a second. Thrilled to I'll be very brief in my comments. Great to see many familiar faces and to connect that way. So I went to my first global women's leadership event at our convention last year, and I was super impressed with the quality event, the camaraderie, the information sharing, the education, and just the fellowship that you and your peers exhibited. So the Cooperative Credit Union Association, we are the host of this meeting, if you will, kind of the host league. So just a big thank you and welcome from all the staff at CCUA. So a couple of comments. We have representatives from leagues across New England. That includes Maine, Connecticut, Vermont. I want to recognize, and I want to have her be a prominent member of this meeting, Lena Giacomopoulos. And I think, Lena, I came close to that one.
Yes, you did. Thank you so very much for that. I'm in shock mode right now. I'm ecstatic.
Don't have to say it again, because I'll probably butcher it on the second time, but I definitely practiced that one, Lena. But so she is the program director for the network, and thrilled to have her join us tonight. We're not just New England. Tonight, you all are interacting with peers from Brazil. So it's Giselle Gomes and also Mari Shiozaki, two representatives from Brazil. Interesting that they are both volunteers at a credit union in Brazil. So they bring that history and philosophy, and they're one of us. And really, really proud to have them. Giselle is an owner of her own diversity and inclusion leadership consulting firm. So kudos to her on that. Excited. Want to thank Denise Adams-Wade from Harvard Employees Credit Union. One of our members. That person was the one that said, hey, let's have a virtual meeting. If we can't do it in person, let's do it virtually. So kudos to her. And finally, a quick thank you to the people that made this happen. A few of the people, at least. Our very own Don Roberts takes a lot of pride in this group. Nicole Lamott, in the middle of my screen. Also, Bonnie Doolin. I have not seen Bonnie's face yet, but Bonnie's been a long time advocate for this group and a lot of history with CCUA. And also Stephanie Smith, the executive director at America's Credit Museum. Just a quick story about Stephanie. In the past few months, she has spent countless hours making thousands of masks to send to credit unions. And that's just a tremendous example of the person that Stephanie is. So we've sent masks to members, Stephanie has, but just that's all in her personal time. So just a shout out to Stephanie, what she's done for that. And they're not, I mean, they're really special customized masks. And again, Stephanie, I take every opportunity to recognize you in front of your peers for that. So again, a hearty welcome to you. Have a great meeting. I'll probably pop out a little bit early, but I'm going to sit back, listen, and look forward to the meeting. And with that, Dawn, over to you.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it. And welcome, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. I also want to welcome Andrea Resnack from PSCU out in California. Andrea? And I had met her. I had the honor of attending the Brazilian Sister Society meeting, thanks to Giselle and Mari, and met Andrea through there. So, I was going to say one thing is, if you're able to or like to, it's great to join the Global Women's Leadership Network so you can have access to the meeting, to attend meetings all over the country and all over the world. They're posted on the website. And we're going to have Lena's going to do a little presentation and speak, and I've asked Giselle and Mari to say a few words. And then we'll just have time for networking and questions for, if you have questions for Lena or Giselle or Mari or anybody. And we're going to play a little Family Feud if you'd like to stick around for that. And we just want to enjoy and have fun. We just wanted to have everybody have some fun, take a little bit of everything off from all the videos you've been watching or meetings you've been on. And yes, this is a video meeting, but we just want to have some fun instead. So welcome everybody, and I appreciate you all coming. And I'll turn it over to Lena.
Thank you. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, CCUA, for having us join you today. Hello, everyone. Just as Ron said, my name is Lena Giacomopoulos, and I have the true pleasure of directing the Global Women's Leadership Network program, which is the program through the World Council of Credit Unions. It's nice to see the names and the faces. Technology has actually helped us tremendously, I would say, over the last few weeks, last few months actually, just become more connected and more engaged with our membership base from the GWLN front. I've been very lucky to have been in a lot of conversations and meetings, as I'm sure all of you have had to as well. But I think the biggest part has been the connection I've been able to make with the individuals who I haven't had the chance to meet since joining GWLN. And obviously most of you know what GWLN is. Like we said, it's a program through the World Council. And the last few years, GWLN has taken an upswing, I would say, in activity and momentum, and it's due to a lot of the amazing people that connect with it. A lot who are on this call and a lot who are scattered all over the globe. I love starting with this photo, and I'm going to spend just a few seconds on this photo. We talked about it briefly, and this photo, for those who didn't have the pleasure of joining us, what you see here is a group photo of individuals that were at our conference last year, which was in the Bahamas. And for those who may not know, World Council, you know, every year hosts a big World Credit Union conference every July, and it rotates around the globe. And last year we had it in the Bahamas. And this is a group photo we took, and I just love seeing the sea of pink. This photo connects obviously the Global Women's Program and our Young Professional Program as well. And we see individuals that are connected with us from all over, US, South America, North America, Caribbean, a lot of Asia as well. So it's a great way to see what the program is and who makes up the program. And that's why I always like starting out with this slide. The program last year celebrated its 10 years. And a small note to everyone: if you should ever start a new position, make sure you don't start on the year of the 10th anniversary. Note to myself going forward. It was truly a very, very busy year for us, for sure. But joking aside, it truly means a lot that the program in 10 years, where it started and where we've come. And if we can move on to the next slide, please. One of the reasons I like sharing this slide about World Council is just to give people an idea of the scope of the organization. Now, this slide is, albeit 2 years old. It comes from the statistical report that World Council puts together each year. But what I like the most about it is seeing the number of countries that are members that have credit unions in them through the World Council. And we are on 6 continents, and that's where Global Women's also has a presence, on 6 continents. Presently, we have sister societies, which is our primary vehicle, in 27 countries. And I like reminding myself of the 118, because I would love to be able to see eventually at least one sister society in every country where World Council has a presence. That's my bigger, longer term vision, and not just my, the team working on the program. But I like throwing this slide up every once in a while, reminding me how far our reach is, and reminding everyone, in essence, how we belong to a much greater international credit union system. And it's not just the credit union of which we belong or work for or are a member of, but it is much greater, and the reach is much broader than that. If we can move on a little to the next slide, please. Okay, the foundation. The reason I keep this slide up is actually just to remind everyone that all the support and the donations that come in through our organization are channeled through the 501c3, which is actually the worldwide foundation for credit unions. And it is the charitable arm of the World Council. And programs such as ours for Global Women, or our Young Professionals, or our International Engagement engagements that some of our individuals have had the chance to join in on, all are channeled through the foundation. So when you pay your membership dues as a GWLN member, or when you donate to become involved in one of the engagements, or participate in you know, a Y-Cup exchange, it is all channeled through the foundation. May we please move on to the next slide? I hope I'm not going too quickly. I just want to get to more conversation than the actual presentation part, right? Global Women's, the program began, like we said, right now 11 years ago, and honestly began because a group of women in South America had, at that time, were speaking with our CEO, Brian Branch, and a group of other CEOs from the US and Canada who were visiting on an exchange. And they expressed the interest of wanting to have a safe forum, and I use the word safe, wanting to have a safe environment in which they could discuss issues that were affecting their work and their lives and their personal and professional growth. And so World Council came up with the concept of the GWLN program there. Hello, Joanne. I just saw Joanne. Hello. I want to say hello. The GWLN program, which obviously is the mechanism through which we can have so the support for these women, and then to bring it on a local scale, the actual mechanism to do so is through our sister society network, which is what you guys are all a part of, and we all use to be able to connect with our members across the globe. Now for GWLN, if we may move on to the next slide. Thank you, Bill. Just highlighting the vision once again to make a measurable difference. And the women that did reach out to Brian and the other CEOs talked about, like they said, of how they could improve their lives, but also their lives through their credit union members and in their communities. And here I just put up the vision statement to remind everyone that we're all in this together to be able to make a measurable difference for the women in their respective locations, in their respective regions. And let me just move on. Now, a couple of our numbers, because like I said, for me, this is where the difference is and where we want to see the growth going forward. Presently, we have 110 sister societies in 27 countries, and the number is going to be increasing. Our partners from Brazil, who we have the pleasure of joining us, are very, very active, and their growth has been exponential in the last, I would say, 2.5 years. Our partners in Asia are also showing a very tremendous amount of growth as well, because there are places both in the US and outside of the US where we have more than just one individual sister society, areas such as Texas, areas such as California, where we have 4 and 5 sister societies depending on the size. And in Asia as well, in Indonesia, I think we have 3, in the Philippines we have 4, and in Thailand we have 2. So the numbers vary from country to country. Like I shared earlier on, I would love, love, love to see that number 27 go up tremendously. And that's a work in progress. Longer term, but I think it's important, and I think the important thing is to see what the sister societies are actually doing in their respective region. They're working with young leaders, they're working with their credit unions, they're literally going out and helping local charities, which is what you're doing. In today's meeting, I think you've selected organizations you'd like to support locally as well. There's a variety of activities. Some sister societies choose to select a specific charity at certain times of year and contribute when they have their meetings. We can continue to do that, obviously, through our virtual meetings as well. And last year, I remember when we were talking about planning and growth for some of the sister societies, one of the suggestions that came up obviously was when we had the pleasure of I would say meeting in person, was one of the sister societies decided to have 4 meetings a year. 3 were going to be in-person meetings, and the 4th literally was not going to be a meeting per se to have a meeting, but they would go and spend time in their local food bank or their local domestic violence group to help the women in their community. So they decided to do the hands-on approach for their 4th meeting a year. Other sister societies choose to gather items and goods needed depending on the needs of the respective organizations, for example, around the holidays. And what I always suggest is don't always do it around the holidays. You know, these organizations need assistance. Try after the holidays, January, February meeting, and have your first meeting of the year be something you can help it with your local community there and then, and not specifically just around holidays or Christmas. Coming back to the numbers, the 10,000 hours you see here is a rough estimate of the number of hours that have been donated by all the sister societies for the past year. And it definitely is a hard thing to calculate, and collecting data is one of our big challenges, but I think it's important for us to see how far and how much farther, I guess, we can get. And the scholarships this year, with our winners this year, we have reached 64 to women from 24 countries. Now this year, because we had to cancel our conference, which was jointly with CUNA this year in Los Angeles, that happens jointly within the US every 4 to 5 years. Our scholarship recipients for this year, we've selected 4 women, will have the opportunity to participate in the conference going forward next year. We've also given them the alternative option of coming to participate in our Executive Readiness Summit here, which we'll be hosting here in Madison end of October. Of course, all of this is going to be depending on the pandemic, international travel, and how the regulations in their respective countries are going to be changing. So stay tuned for that. If we may move on, please. All righty, we're gonna share the short little video here. And this is the video we shared at the GAC breakfast. And I love the video because I think it's a great way for you to see a lot of our leaders and our partners from around the world of what GWLN is.
Can everyone see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. CU Women stand for financial inclusion and an equal voice.
Did I lose the meeting?
No.
Let's just see that again.
For me, the Global Women's Leadership Network means sisterhood and strong bonds.
Solidarity. Finding a new purpose.
Leadership, learning. I love to be back.
Good news. Most of them are shy to come up to air out their views. So I said, this is my opportunity now to advance women in circles within Malawi in leadership positions.
We have organized 25 sister societies. That is the local chapter of the Global Women's Leadership Network in 6 countries. It has more than 1,500 members.
It's also about the networking. These meetings provide a great framework for contributing and networking.
Thank you, thank you. Just a couple more slides. Dawn?
Oh, no,
That's okay, it's okay.
there we go. It is?
As part of the continuing education
Oh.
development
program apart for our
Oops, sorry.
employees.
That's
I
okay.
suppose together with a fellow colleague, Mayor President.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. Just a couple more slides of where we are with respect to the nations and the sister societies, just to have a sense. Obviously, the countries that you see here are the 27 that I mentioned, where we have at least one sister society, just at least one. And it's interesting to see, hopefully, and I think in the next year or so, definitely we'll be able to increase the numbers, like I said, in South America, not just because of our Brazilian partners, Gisele, but because of other nations as well, that I'm hoping to as well. But the important thing is to be able to bombard the map. That's my ultimate goal. And the next slide also shows us where we are in the states. The two that you see highlighted here are Indiana, and we had Montana and I think Hawaii down below. These were the ones that we're going to be launching. We were going to be launching literally during this COVID pandemic, and Hawaii obviously was a little farther down the line, but things evolved a little differently, as we all know, these last few months. But I'm keeping them up there, you know, highlighted in pink, because I want to change them shortly so they can be launches. The exciting thing is that conversations are still happening about growing more sister societies, and even a few more in Europe as well. I've had conversations with over the last few weeks. So I think this is obviously a constant work in progress, and it's hard to keep it updated, but I think it gives everybody a sense and a feeling of where we are reach-wise, and just the handful of states that are left for us to be able to say we have at least one sister society. The next slide that I want to share is just about our longer term 10 years going forward, and this was as a result of one of our strategy sessions at the end of 2019. Of things that we would like to see longer term for the program in 10 years. Like I mentioned, at least in every country where we have presence, at least in every US state, and the strong voice of diversity, equity, and inclusion, where we're fortunate enough to be part of the collective that I'm sure you've all been hearing about or are part of. We have Credit Union Museum here with us, and a lot of our partner organizations of where we'd like to go. The next three slides, I'm not going to say much on. I think they speak for themselves, but I left them in honestly because I think it's important for us to constantly come back to numbers and reminders of where we are with respect to the unbanked on a global scale, women CEOs or women in more senior level positions, and the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion numbers. So I'm going to just ask Bill if we can just go through them relatively quickly. I'm not going to say much because there's no reason for me to be reading them for you. But I think it's important to keep reminding ourselves that there's a large population around the globe where women are still unbanked. They don't have access to financial services or a financial services institution. And that's a very harsh number across the globe, 56% of it. The next slide about women in leadership positions, both in credit unions and banks. And this is data you can see that is pulled from IMF and the CUNA's policy briefs as well. And that's constantly, the IMF pulls out the report, I think pretty much every year or every 2 years. This is the 2018 one. And then the third slide, which I think is quite amazing given what's been going on with DEI the last, I'm sad to say that it's become more prevalent in people's minds these last few weeks. But GWLN, World Council, as many other organizations across the US are part of the DEI collective, and hopefully we'll be releasing the official solidarity statement tomorrow, which I'm sure many of you will see. But it's kind of amazing to see the diversity and leadership that we don't see actually in our credit union system, both for females, for African Americans, and such. So I think it's important for us to remember some of this data, or just look at some of this data. Again, it's available to you through CUNA as well. And then if I may come back to the other big number with respect to the global gender gap, which it has decreased to 99.5 years. Every year, the World Economic Forum, every 2 years, the World Economic Forum puts together the Global Gender Gap Report. And that is based on the 4 parameters that you see here, which are health and survival, the education, the economic, and the political sectors. And if we wanted to achieve an overall gap, we would need 99.5 years. And I am sad to say I won't be around, no matter how much makeup I wear. But I think it's important for us to have that in the back of our minds for the future generations, you know, for our daughters, our nieces, our granddaughters, our friends, and the women going forward. So I like keeping that slide up. So now I'm going to take you to a whole different area. I'm going to take you to the happy stuff. Pay not to play. If we may move on. This year, GWLN is hosting a virtual fundraiser. And when we first started talking about the fundraiser, which we usually implement during the annual conference, we started talking about it last fall. And the conversations were, how do we limit people coming and going and people moving around in Los Angeles because of the heavy traffic. And we said, well, let's do a virtual fundraiser. And we were fortunate enough to go down that path. And as things happened, unfortunately, we won't be in Los Angeles to be celebrating, but we are still hosting our fundraiser this year. And the concept is pay to not play, because the thought is to be able to have people connect and engage who want to support the program, but don't necessarily golf. And you can find obviously more information on the website. I can share it as well. The slide didn't have it, but you can find it on our webpage, on the CU Women website. And the concept is we are having foursomes that are donated from credit unions and credit union CEOs from across the country. And we're going to be doing we're going to be doing an auction virtually online starting in July, leading up to the celebration event, which will be virtual at this time. And this says, I'm sorry, you probably have an old slide here. I see CST. It's 4 to 6 p.m., Pacific time, not Central, Pacific. So what we're going to be doing is at that event, we're going to be announcing the winners from the drawing, and people can participate, can purchase tickets to join in the drawing should they wish and enter to win, or they can participate with a smaller financial contribution to the program and just support and join in the reception. There's variations. There's a couple of foursomes already up on the page, and I encourage you all to go. And I have it on this slide. Give me 1 second here. If you go to the CU Women org page /events, you'll be able to find the pay to not play and all the information there. So I truly look forward to it. I am not a golfer myself. I have never set foot on a golf course. So needless to say how ecstatic I was that we were hosting a virtual non-golf fundraiser, okay? And I just want to close off with a few more slides. If we may move on to our pink. We all talked about it, and our pink and our Sea of Pink is truly a wonderful way that we can continue contributing to the program. Here you see our board members from Korea, you see board members from Africa, you see our scholarship winners, and I love seeing our he for she's with pink. And the funny part is every time we have the breakfast, I see individuals say, oh, Lynn, I already have one, but I'm going to buy one more, but I'm going to buy one more. And that's what some of our leaders do. They buy one and they hand it out to their team members. They hand it out to someone so they can become interested about the program. Andrea, who's on our call, is a phenomenal example of doing this. She's one of the great leaders that does this all the time. I don't know how many she's purchased. She can probably share with you. I'm sure it's a very large number. But it's wonderful to see and for people to wear and just to even give out as gifts. And it's a great way to support the program. So I love seeing the pink. I love seeing the photos. And I'm hoping on our next virtual meeting, we can have all our he for she's be donning their pink as well. And if we may move on, all I've highlighted in the last few slides is just the events coming up, as you see. The Executive Readiness Summit, as I mentioned, will be taking place in Madison at the end of October. And this year, too, we're hoping for an in-person, and that's what we're targeting, an in-person event. And added on, we will have the online element to it, offering the participants some individual online trainings after the event for a longer duration as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to close off with one of my favorite slides about empowered girls. The young girl you see here in this slide is the daughter of our sister society leader in Great Britain, Beth Welsh. This is Hope Welsh. And when she and I were talking about their virtual meetings and what she was doing next, she was pregnant, and when she came back to the office, she was getting ready to schedule the next meeting, and she shared the photo, and she said, "Linda, you're never too young to join GWLN." So this is one of our future GWLN members I hope to see very soon. And with that, I'm going to leave you with one of my quotes from Mayang Gelu, and just my contact information for GWLN. Very quick, I know, as quick as possible, and I really thank you for listening. Obviously, I'm always open to ideas. I love collaborating with women and men from around the globe, and believe me, the best part of my work, I think, is having all these ideas coming from all of our members. I'm always going to plug at the end and encourage you all to join as GWLN members, so you can be part of the greater family. You can always be involved with your sister society in that area. And I encourage you also to constantly look at the calendar and look at this Facebook group page, because that's where a lot of the sister societies are posting their meetings, and you can easily join in on future meetings going forward. And with that, I think I've shared more than 10 minutes of your time. Sorry about that, Dawn, and I will stop here.
That's okay. Thank you, Lena. Thank you for joining us as well. And a lot of good information, I think, for everybody. A lot of good background as well on the network for everybody to share. I would like to invite, if Gisele would like to say a few words.
Hi, Dawn. Thank you so much. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm very honored to be part of this meeting and to have been invited. It's very important for us to be together in this meeting. I remember when we invited our global community to get in our meeting, and Dawn sent me an email that she was interested, and it was just so nice to hear that Dawn would like to join. I have never been in touch with her, and since then I can say that we are friends. So it's nice that with this pandemic we are having the opportunity to meet our global women leadership members all around the globe. So when Dan invited me, I said, yes, definitely yes, because I remember that I felt really important to be invited, and it was so important for our group to have our peers from around the globe. It was really nice to have Lena, it was really nice to have Dawn, it was really nice to have Andrea. They really feel that they are important, and they have this feeling, this belonging, that they belong to something that is bigger. And I have two quick things to share. We try to manage the interpretation services. It can be a little bit tough, but I remember that at some point the interpreter said, no, they just can hear the Brazilian peers. They're just going to hear my voice. And I said, no, they want to hear people speaking in English. And one of our peers, she has a daughter, and every time we had a foreign, someone that we invited, the girl is in the screen and she wants to hear, and she said, am I a sister society member, Mom? Am I? Yes, you are, dear. So that's it. We are empowering not just women, but we are also empowering girls, and this is very important. So my request is, when we have an international meeting, please join us. You are going to be really welcome. It was really nice to have Dawn with us, Lena and Andrea, as I mentioned, and also our other peers. So it's very, very important. And I'm thinking, and I think that this is a very different moment, but it's amazing that we have the opportunity to connect to each other. So thank you again. Thank you. Oh, I think Mari would like to say hi in Portuguese. She doesn't feel comfortable to say hi in English, but she would like to say in Portuguese. Is that all right?
That would be great.
Yes, Mari.
Hi.
Hi, Mari.
Oi! Hi, I will try in English.
Okay.
I'm Mari from Brazil. Lena said I never apologize about this, but my English is not so good. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Lena, for this opportunity. And I'm so grateful to be here, to be part of this. Congrats for your work. Thank you.
Obrigado.
Thank you. Thank you, Mari, Gisele, Lena. We're very honored to have you join us as well. And, you know, and again, to everybody, it was incredible to be able to join our International Sister Society and to be so welcomed into the society. And as Gisele said, we made some great friends, new friends. And, you know, it's just great to be able to have this, unfortunately, in this, it wasn't the way to do it, unfortunately, that we had to go through this to make this all happen. But, you know, if some good comes out of this, then this is the good that has come out. So now I'd kind of like to turn it over to either questions or we can start playing Family Feud. I don't know if everybody has their spreadsheets, or you can just write your answers on a piece of paper and score yourselves. And then in the end, at the very end, I'm going to have someone pick a number and we're going to have a drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card. So please stick around and let's have some fun and enjoy each other. Oh.
Wait.
No, there you go.
Share, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So Nicole will be leading us in the Family Feud. You can do your answers.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you see my Family Feud game on the screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Hi. All right. So what we're doing is there's 8 questions and we have a final tiebreaker, but it still counts as a final question. And we've been playing this a lot at CCUA during our happy hours, maybe once a week, right?
Yep.
So just write down your 5 first choice answers that you think people surveyed would answer, and then there's points for every answer. So I'm gonna go to the first question, which is, out of 100 people surveyed, other than jewelry, what is the most expensive single item in your home? I'm going to try to time it today for about 1 minute and 20 seconds for each question. So let's see how that goes.
What are you typing? Computer. When we finish with the question, if anybody wants to unmute and kind of, you know, before Nicole shows the answers, we can yell out some of your answers too, to make this a little more interactive. So please feel free.
Okay, I'll go first. This is a little embarrassing, but my Tempur-Pedic bed.
That's a good one.
I'm not gonna lie, I said my kids.
Your kids? Right. Let's see what the top 5 answers were. TV was number 1 at 45 points. There were no kids in there or Tempur-Pedics. Well, furniture, 21 points. That would count. Appliances at 10, computer for 4 points, and collectibles for 4 points. But there were actually 3 more answers to this one. For some reason, money was on there for 4 points, clothes 4 points, and car 3 points. So if you get any of those, you can give yourself those points as well. And I'll give everybody a minute to score themselves. Let's see. Move on to number 2. Name an important number people often memorize. When I play this game, I wish I had the music from Family Feud. I think it would make it more fun. Background. Does anybody have an answer they think it could be?
Social Security number?
Driver's license?
Oh, that's a good one.
Credit card.
An important one.
Your PIN number.
Oh, yeah.
Credit union member number, of course.
Let's see. Phone number was number 1 for 25 points, but nobody knows phone numbers anymore. And then Social Security number was 23. Driver's license, 20. Debit or credit card number, 15. And a bank routing number, 11 points, which would also be a credit union number. I don't think I hit it.
What about your garage door code? That didn't get
It should.
I can't get in.
Next one is number 3. Things you don't want to discuss during the holidays. Top 5 answers. I think we all know number 1 right now.
I'm really curious.
Does anybody have?
You know, because your mind goes to all the things you do discuss during the holidays, which is like a lot, you know. But I'm just, I mean, I'm assuming politics is going to be up there like number 1, right?
I guess.
Or in the top 5, and I could be wrong.
I would think it would be in the top 5.
Okay.
What about my weight?
Yeah, that's what
Wait.
kids' diets and food.
I made my list.
That's a good one, yeah.
Let's see what we have.
And sadly, religion, maybe.
Oh, yeah, number 2, religion.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
25 points. Politics is number 1 for 30. Your love life, 19 points. Finances for 14. And parenting advice for 9 points.
Oh, wow. I'm not going to tell my daughter.
Everybody score, and then we'll move on.
Wow, parenting advice. Probably shouldn't tell my mother, I guess.
Number 4. Name something that only happens once every few years.
Not as easy as you think sometimes.
No.
Okay, does anybody have a guess?
I said
Leap year, right?
Leap year? Oh, yeah.
That's a good
Year.
one, wow.
Yep.
Oh, about eclipse? I don't know.
Presidential election.
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
Your driver's license renewal.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Eclipse was number 1 answer, 27 points.
Wow.
The election, presidential election, 25 points. Leap year, 21 points. Olympics for 15.
Oh, that's a good one.
And the FIFA World Cup for 7 points.
Wow.
You guys are doing really good.
Let's just say, not doing so well.
Either are we.
Number 5. We asked 100 husbands if your wife is staring at you over a holiday dinner, what might she be telling you with her look?
Be good, everyone.
Really?
Should be a quick one, right?
This is going to be a completely wrong answer because in their mind, they're going to say what they want to know, not what we want them to know.
What they want the answer to be, yes. So what do you think number 1 would be?
When are we leaving?
When are we leaving?
When are we leaving?
That's good.
Stop it, whatever you're doing. Just
Yeah,
stop.
that's what I wrote.
How about she loves you?
Mm-hmm. Get up and help.
Oh, these are all the right answers. I love you was the number 1 answer, 38 points.
Really?
Well, that's what he thinks.
You're in trouble.
You're
Yeah.
in trouble for
That's
23.
half their problem.
Let's leave, 13.
Yep.
Stop talking, 10. And help out or do the dishes, 9 points.
I got a donut on this one.
No.
I was thinking you have something on your face, kind of. Thing.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
had that too.
I had that. Let's stop burping.
So I'm going to move on to number 6. Name something that gets thrown, which is also a good question for up to 5.
It gets thrown.
That gets thrown. If you're throwing something. I can give it an example. The lowest point one is party for 6 points.
Really? Okay, you're making me work too hard here.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't want to warn anybody. There'd be a lot of thinking.
Yeah, wow.
It's fun thinking.
It is.
Could be like a. Okay, does anybody have what they think would be the number 1 answer on that one?
Ball, baseball.
Football, basketball.
We got ball for number 1, 44 points.
Oh, wow.
Tantrum.
Frisbee, darts for 7 points, game or contest, 8 points. Tantrum is 6 points, and then it was also party for 6 points. That's not on the screen.
Can't believe back is not on there.
Oh, that would have been good.
Throw your back.
Yeah.
I had towel, like throw in the towel.
This is a good one, yeah.
That's throwing an idea, but I guess they're more sports centric.
So for number 7, name something that makes you feel better when you're having a bad day.
May not need a tiebreaker, Nicole.
Does anybody have a guess?
Cocktail.
Alcohol.
Ice cream.
Ah, that's a good one.
Exercise.
A hug.
Ooh.
Wine first, exercise, and then then the ice cream.
And a nap.
In that order.
Number one answer was food, 46 points. So that would be ice cream. Then a drink for 29, a hug for 7, a friend for 5 points, music for 5 points, and then there was an extra answer of watching TV for 3 points. Don't know how that makes you feel about it, but
Would chocolate be considered food?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Part of a major food group.
I was gonna say, it's gotta be one of them.
Number 8. Tell me a situation that makes just about everyone nervous. In the top 5 answers. Any guesses?
Getting stopped by the police.
Oh,
Yeah. Pregnancy test.
Oh.
Now we're thinking.
Doctor's visit.
An interview.
Public speaking.
Yep.
Yep. Performance review.
Yep.
Let's see what we got. Number 1, wedding, 27 points.
Yep.
2 is dating, 21 points. Job interview, 16 points. Doctor's appointment, 13 points. Public speaking, 12 points. And I also have taking a test. And I believe that's 3 points.
They must have surveyed their same husbands. If wedding is number 1.
Yeah.
Pregnancy test was a good answer, though. Given what's not on there.
It's kind of test, yeah.
And then we have a final tiebreaker. Okay. Name a public place where you might be spotted wearing less clothing than usual.
Yeah, well, be careful. Right, so my daughter put Walmart. Don't think that made the list, but
You never know.
I know.
Any other guesses?
Beach, gym, nightclubs,
Spa.
doctor's office.
Spa. Yeah. That's what I put too.
Doctor's office.
On vacation
Yeah.
at
It was
the
number one
equator.
list. Beach was #1 answer, 43 points. Pool for 31 points. Nightclub, 10 points. The spa, 6 points. And the gym for 5 points. And that's it. So, but it could add up their scores and we can see who won.
Adding machine, very
I can
serious.
hear them.
That's me.
I had 172. I'll start.
72?
172.
I had 189.
Woohoo.
I think I must have added wrong because I got 584.
Oh, good. I got 599.
Yeah, because I got
Okay, good.
4.
I got
I feel better.
I thought I was doing something wrong too. I got 414 though.
Okay.
I got 410. 410.
I had 477.
Ooh.
I got 244.
Joanne's winning there.
Yep.
I think our top one was 599.
That was me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
I know a whole lot about nothing.
Public opinion, that's what it is. It's
There
a
you
whole
go.
lot about public opinion.
That was fun.
Thanks, Nicole.
Well, I'm glad you guys
Yeah,
enjoyed
thank
it.
you.
That was
Thank
awesome.
So I want to ask if Giselle, if you could pick a number between 1 and 30.
30.
Oh, congratulations, Lena! You won the $50 Amazon card.
I did.
You
No,
did.
that's supposed to go to Joanne. I thought that was, it goes to the person with the highest points on the responding to the questions.
No, we just decided to do it randomly because you know it's hard to judge.
Well, thank you, but really you don't need to.
But we wanted to. So, does anybody, if everybody would like to unmute, we can chat for a while, chat with our new friends and stuff. I don't want to keep everybody too late. And you know, thank you for attending. We had hoped to originally have this in May. We had plans. Hi, Neil. We had originally planned, we were in the works to have this up at America's Credit Museum May, but unfortunately everything happened. So at some point we will get up there and have a meeting where everybody can see the museum and enjoy each other's company. But hopefully we can meet in person soon. And we will try and put together another meeting soon as well. So I'll leave it open to everybody. And
Did we have, did you guys choose an organization for donations, or is that something that you'll do at the next meeting?
we were, when we were looking at doing it in May, we were looking at, you know, something around the museum that maybe we could do, or in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, you know, look at different, depending on where we have it, and move it around.
Right.
And stuff, try and do something for the area that we're in.
Sounds good.
And you may want to look at, you know, the different organizations, especially because women are having such a hard time now during the pandemic. It's, I mean, you all read the news, you see what's happening, and it doesn't matter what part of the country or what part of the world you're in. It is affecting a lot of women, you know, and a lot of issues are coming to the surface just more prominently because women are in their homes, and they're feeling the brunt of the caretaking, and you know, unfortunately, domestic violence issues are increasing as well. So you might want to think about, you know, an organization in that area that touches upon perhaps one of the issues, or you may not, and it might be something you want to think about, you know, further down the line. I'm just throwing out ideas. There's always a lot of organizations that need assistance, that's for sure.
Thank you. And I also want to thank Bill Nagel he ran the meeting from behind the scenes, so I appreciate it, Bill, and for you hanging on, putting up with all those women.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you.
And hi, Bonnie. I just saw you. Hi.
Hi. So I rushed home, got online, and then we had a power failure. And it only just dawned on me I could put the Ring Central app on my phone.
Oh.
So better late than never. Hi, Lena. Thank you for all this.
Hello, Bonnie. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, except for the glitch tonight. But other than that, you know, it's just COVID all over the place, and we're fine.
That's okay. I mean, the important thing is to be healthy and safe for
yes, exactly.
And your loved ones.
And how did it go? Did everybody play Family Feud?
We did, yes.
We did.
Yes. Who won?
Joanne.
Joanne.
Ah, that's wonderful. Well, that's great. Well, I'm so glad. I'm so sorry I missed all the fun. But better late than never, as I said. So do we have were you guys just already talking about next meeting?
So we'll get one planning and start figuring it out. We were hoping to do in person, but that's obviously not going to happen.
Okay, may I ask? I'm asking Andrea if they've thought about their next meetings, because I know there's a couple happening next week as well. I know Sacramento's happening tomorrow, and next week is Illinois and Southern California as well. Andrea, do you want to chime in just some thoughts and ideas as well?
Sure. So we're actually having our virtual event this Thursday for the San Francisco Bay Area Sister Society. And our focus for that meeting is on mental health and wellness. As Lena said, no matter where you sit, whether it's United States or internationally, like Gisele, hi Gisele, that continues to be the top concern. So one of our speakers is actually one of our co-leaders that credit union, and she's in the human resources area. So she's going to talk about some of her experiences with working with employees and just things to do in this time of stress and need and what resources are available. So I can give you guys more information after the meeting, but that's what we have planned on this Thursday. And Dawn, if you want an invite, just let me know and I can forward it to you.
Oh, definitely. What time is it at?
One second, let me check my calendar and I will tell you.
Yeah, we've been concentrating a lot at CCUA too on some mental wellness and mindfulness, and we actually have a webinar coming up in July that we're going to do. We've decided in talking with the speaker that we're going to title it "Managing the Voice in Your Head."
Only one? There's only one voice in your head?
Well, we tried to be nice about it. We tried to be nice, but
Right. It's at 2:30 East Coast time on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yes, I would love to if you don't mind.
Okay. Lena, did you get that one? Lena, if not, I can send it to you and Gisele as well.
Yes, please. You said this Thursday?
It is. It's the 18th.
Ladies are keeping me very, very.
I know. We're keeping you hopping. Just keep your pink nearby, Lena, because you're always going to have to wear it, right?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. It's one of my favorite colors too. And you do know that it's one of the few colors that looks really good on a blonde haired woman, a dark haired woman, and even a redheaded. Oh, okay. Depending on the colors, at least that's what I was in a seminar way, way long ago in a previous lifetime. And that's what I remember.
And it looks nice on our men too, that are
Yes,
you're right. It looks great.
It looks very nice on them.
Yeah.
I hate to cut short, but I have to go to another meeting. Dawn, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and I love Family Feud. I feel like I need to practice more trivia now at home.
Thank you for joining.
It was nice to see all you ladies. So thank you so much for having me. Have a great evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Mari and Gisele, thank you again for joining us from Brazil. We appreciate it. Lena, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I just am thrilled finally seeing the faces behind these names of lists that I've been seeing for 2 years. It's so great. It's so great. And, you know, I hope and maybe that's what we're going to be suggesting going forward, is that there always should be a virtual meeting somewhere, you know, in the midst of our planning going forward. You know, because it's a great way, I think, to broaden the reach. That's what I've seen with respect to the numbers and the participation. You know, everybody's thrilled to be able to have more people attend the meetings, just
Sure.
because of, you know, the magic of technology. And, you know, even in Bonnie's case, that she joined in, it doesn't matter what.
Eventually.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's
It's very helpful.
I mean, nothing replaces the in-person, honestly, but I really think that the technology has helped us. At least that's what I've seen in the last 7 weeks, for sure.
Yep.
That's wonderful.
You know, I think it's a great opportunity to learn from each other too, to do something like that and to meet new people and make new friends. I think it's just a great part of this whole global women's and sister society. It's one part of it, but it's a big part.
It's within reach too for lower wealth folks and people from credit unions that don't have a lot of resources. And we really need to reach down to, or reach out to those.
Absolutely.
We need to get deeper into the movement is what I'm saying. I don't mean down, up
We're
and down.
with you. We are with you though. I get it completely. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Well, actually, Sally, isn't that what you guys do through Secredi? You reach out, instead of reaching out to just the people that work at the credit unions, you guys actually have leadership for the credit union members.
Yes, that's it. For example, our sister societies are for members. For example, Mari and I, we are volunteers. We are members for sure of the credit unions, but for example, all this movement, all this leadership movement is for our members and to engage them in our credit unions. And the idea is to have them becoming a board member or a chair, something like that.
Wow.
Yes.
Bravo.
Yes, it's amazing.
Very cool.
Yep.
Who took a photo? Dawn?
I did. I'm not sure if they came out very well because, as my daughter pointed out, the flash was on. So,
did you post on the Facebook group page?
Oh, not yet. I'm not on Facebook, so believe it or not, I took myself off years ago.
Okay, can someone share that with me? If not, I wanna because we have a smaller number here, and I like showing you know, everybody.
Yep.
There we go.
That's good.
I'll go through the pictures I took and try and get a good view out of it. There you go. Okay. All right, I will get you a picture, Lena.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys, believe it or not, my phone is dying now. I think God is telling me something, so I'm going to run and go drive around in my car to charge my phone. Love you guys, and keep me posted. I'm really looking forward to more and more fun.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, Bonnie. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. You too. Bye.
Bye. Becky.
Obrigada, my friends.